My first introduction to Zoids was via New Century when it first aired here in Australia with the English dub, and from the get-go, I was hooked. The mechanised nature of them, the appearances, and even the easy to follow story that progressed, was solidified as an early love for the universe, which was sort of brought down by fuses later, but either way, the first episode with the Zabers facing off against the Blitz team left the love of their characters and team. To me, they embody being terrible, but doing it confidently in a comedic result, which makes the episode where Dr. Leon assists them with the storm cheating even funnier, as though it was just simply enhancing their already god tier skills further. The strangest part about them, however, is their colours. Personally, I really don't like yellow, but when it comes to their Zoids, for some reason, it's okay now. Which I'm not sure why, but hey, it is what it is. Enough nostalgia and excitement over for now, and let's get on to the building. As you can see, I've built the entire team, and boy howdy was this a logistical pain in the neck, and how I approached it was pretty much just brainstorming the idea for about half a year, I guess, and trying to figure out what I wanted to do, settling on the following. A. I see New Century battles as a sport, albeit higher danger, and as such, the Zoids are comparable to race cars and the like, so flashy paint was a go, specifically pearl. B. Being that they're again, like sports teams, I did want to add numbers on each of the trio Zoids, so Kirkland, Omari and Lineback all had a number, 1, 2 and 3 respectively. C. Along the way while airbrushing, I would take the spots with the hobby knife to add little repaired areas here and there, because I'm not sure about you guys, but being up close with professional race cars fairly often, I've seen a lot of the quick patchworks on the paint and the like enough times to justify little unneat chips before patching. D. The underbody was a bit of a tricky one at first. I couldn't decide on what I wanted to do for the longest time. So I locked in a dark grey for the main 3 body sections and black for everything else, with the exclusion of some of the guns and equipment having a dark obsidian tint. E. The guns, fangs and claws were to be all the same at first until I separated all of the guns and gave them a coat of lead and left the fangs and claws to be steel. At this point I should note that all of the paints aside from the black and white undercoats were SMS Paints, or Citadel, which again, they smacked it out of the park for quality and look here. Now, many folks are against the BT kits, which I'll talk about for a moment here. They're objectively not bad, however they are random. Out of the 4 sabers that I currently have on hand, one was much more of a dull red than the other 3, and this particular kit, used in the build, had a lot more flash and was much more difficult to assemble due to the tightness and the like. The other 2 built alongside it were actually comparable to Kotobukiya kits, and went together without issue, which brings me to the discussion on them. BT kits, yes, are lesser quality than your Koto counterparts generally speaking, but a lot of the time, the issues folks have with them come down to general modelling, which means tighter fits, flash and such you can fix very easily. This means that BT kits are perfect for experimenting on and doing bigger projects like this thanks to the cost. But just note that you aren't going to have the push-fit build like Kotobukiya out of the box most of the time. Moving back to the build, as you may have guessed, I did do some assembling before painting all of the rest, and this is because a great chunk of them can be done, so you don't have to individually paint pieces all over or mask things off either. The first step in doing all of them was to de-sprue every single red piece and place all of the pauldrons, nose and tail parts in their own bag for the blue, while all of the remaining red parts went into their own bag for yellow, and then I assembled all of the main sections that could be done without the need for any of the already trimmed pieces, which was a decent amount. Once all of this pre-assembly was finished, I went through each bag and I cleaned up all of the parts to an acceptable degree, and one by one I took them to be undercoated in large groups outside, via colour. Which, side note, was a pain in the neck thanks to the constant storms and rain here at the moment. I had to wait many extra hours before doing anything else each time. Finishing up the undercoating, it was back to the build table to start the task of painting everything piece by piece through all of the assigned colours, and this took a couple of days to wait for paint to dry and just the sheer volume of parts that were coming through. For the primary armour pieces, I wanted pearl and candy clear coats because of the Firefox I did. They just pop so nicely, and as you'll see with the blue in the footage, when the clear is added, the colour just blooms really nice, and it lends itself to the idea that these machines are not only for high-risk sport, but they are again, similar to cars in a way. The actual colours I used here are banana yellow and deep blue, both in pearl, with yellow and blue clear candy coats over the top. There are spots where you'll see I've left areas alone and unpainted, and that's only in areas you have to look for. And the reason is, I don't think that there would be paint in these areas due to the moving parts around them. There would be no point in painting something fancy to only get rubbed off as soon as the Zoid starts moving. All of the panel lining I did was with Nuln Oil, and for the red and oranges on the back equipment, I used Mephiston Red with a coat of Caraberg Crimson and Fire Dragon Bright, with the underbelly blue bits being Calidor Sky, which was then coated with Drakenhof Nightshade before Temple Guard Blue was applied over the top, and finally Bolt Gun Metal was used to line around the outside of them, which was the colour I used on all of the hydraulic lines across all three. And that's pretty much it, so I'll be back at the end with the finished result. I am super stoked. This was a blast. They've scored the position above my computer area, so I can look right up and see them there. Anywho, until the next one, take it easy. So you're still watching? Well, if you enjoyed that, this is for you. As I mentioned at the very start, New Century was my intro to Zoids, and of course, learning of the models, I had to have one. Which I was over the moon to learn that the Zabers had their own kits, and as luck would have it, our local Target had them when I was a kid. Being on sale, I was quick to earn the pocket money to go and buy one. My dad took me up and I raced on in at the opening time to be immediately gutted, because I saw that they were no longer on sale and I didn't have enough money. So back to the car I went, and the old boy was pretty confused why I hadn't bought it. So when I told him, he solved it, flicked me a $5, and you can bet I was back in there faster than lightning. This kit isn't that one, I built mine, but this is just a bonus that I've had sitting for this exact moment when I would build the team. So kick back and enjoy some nostalgia.